So Cindy is out doing a photo shoot using the fancy camera. I was feeling inspired to make a couple of videos, and I thought, what about if I just used what I had available and saw what kind of quality I could produce just using this selfie stick and this lapel mic.
Almost got a Duncan.
I was having a conversation this morning with Cindy about dealing with people who are attacking us. And I was just reflecting on this particular approach that I've used somewhat sometimes, and which I'd like to use more. I think it's a really powerful way of handling situations with people who are attacking us. So one of the things that you can do is to consider that the person is like a child. So when someone's attacking you, they're triggered, they're emotionally triggered, and what that means is that they're regressed to being like children. So what will often happen is that the person will start attacking us, and that'll lead us to get triggered ourselves and then regress ourselves and become like little children ourselves, and so then it becomes like a squabble between two children, each hurting each other. So if you can realize that this person has essentially regressed to being a little child, then what you can do, instead of taking it personally, you can see them as being a little child, and you can actually just feel parental towards them, and you can feel loving towards them. So an example is Cindy was saying that this woman came up to her after a workshop she did and said to her, "You're evil, I hate you." And I can imagine seeing that woman saying that and imagine her as a little child, like a little toddler, saying, "I hate you, you're an evil, nasty woman and I hate you." Oh, this is a little girl who's really hurt and upset, coming up to her mother and stumping her feet and saying, "I hate you." And what do you do when a little kid does that? You say, "Oh, you hate me, come here and let me hug you." And that's essentially what Cindy did. She said, "Oh, you hate me, what's that like to hate me?" And the woman started crying, and then Cindy hugged her, and there was no issue. Because this woman, on some level, felt that Cindy was going to possibly be able to hold her and hold the projection, hold the transference, where the woman was seeing Cindy as her mother, and she was having the same feelings she had about her mother, and she had some trust and some sense that perhaps if she replayed her experience with her mother, where she said that to her mother, instead of Cindy telling her off or punishing her, Cindy would actually listen to her. It can be a compliment when people attack you, because they think maybe this time someone can hold them and not regress and not react, and actually hold them as a parent. First of all, it's important not to treat them as being childish and be like, "Oh, you're being like a child." Don't patronize them, and don't use it as a way of attacking them, right? A spiritual bypass, kind of like, "Oh, I'm less regressed than you," or whatever, right? Because you're just regressing and you're just doing the same thing. It's got to come from a really supportive, loving, wholesome place. And the second thing is, how do you get into that place, right? How do you do that? And the way you're going to do that is by just practicing parenting yourself as much as possible. Parenting yourself, taking care of yourself, and making sure you're taking care of your energy, taking care of your needs, making sure that you're fed regularly, making sure that you sleep well, making sure that you're listening to your feelings. As someone attacks you, also, that one of the reasons we regress is because if we don't protect ourselves and take care of ourselves properly, then essentially we're experiencing our inner parent abandoning us in that moment. And so that's often why we then suddenly become like children again. We're not resourced, we don't have the ability to hold anything. So we can't really hold other people when they're acting out as little children unless we're able to actually hold our own inner children. And this is why often parenting is so difficult, because when you're a parent, you actually have a child with you who's actually a real child all the time. And it's not just a matter of people regressing sometimes and attacking you. It's actually a matter of you have a kid that's always regressed, because they essentially are a kid. Unless you are so terrible at parenting that you've made it necessary for your child to play the adult role the whole time, which is parentalization or adultization, which is a whole other problem. But if you have a kid that's, kids are going to have tantrums and be difficult and complain and be upset and need your support, need your help, it's a massive responsibility to be a parent and to have a child. You actually have to be the parent, and you have to, as much as possible, try not to regress. And that actually, paradoxically, involves you being really good at parenting yourself, taking care of yourself. So it all starts with yourself, and do that for your children, do that for everyone in your life. Take care of yourself, parent yourself. See you soon.